Hello and welcome to Swaay.Health, where we love bringing you insights from the brightest minds in healthcare marketing. And I've got one of them sitting next to me on this video. Here is Larry Kaiser, Chief Marketing Officer at Optimum Healthcare IT. Larry, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, we're old friends, so this should be a fun conversation.
Should be a fun conversation for sure.
I want to talk to you about healthcare leadership. That's our theme for today.
Okay.
You are a healthcare leader, a very good one. All the people that ever worked with you have always said you're such a good one. So I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about healthcare leadership. And I want to dive in with this first question. So Larry, on an interview you did earlier, you basically were saying that by mid-year, we should start to see a rise again in healthcare hiring, marketing hiring. Now, all these new hires that are going to come on board at existing companies, maybe some new ones, they're probably going to inherit some form of marketing.
Yeah.
As a marketing leader, do you recommend that you go in, bowl like a china shop, just kind of go, hey, this is the way I'm going to do it? Do you kind of keep everything the same, or is there something in between? Like, what would you recommend someone do if they're getting into that kind of new situation?
Yeah, there's a lot of scenarios that come into play there. Is the company you're going to starting off with marketing, never had marketing before? Do they have a well-established marketing program? Or in some cases, as you're getting hired, they might even say, we want to redo all of our marketing, right? So you got to look at a lot of different things there. Me personally, I've gone through different versions of that. You're starting from scratch or picking up where you left off in the past or looking at it from a different angle and moving forward. So I think it depends on the scenario you're in and the company you're working for. A lot of different avenues you can take and so forth. But I think more than anything, you don't want to go in and make change for the sake of change because you're going to harm the business. An organization like Optimum Healthcare IT, for example, we've been in a company for 13 years now, and we're very well established. We have relationships at many industry organizations. But if I was to come in today and just redo all of the marketing, whether that be what we're marketing, our logo, our website, whatever it's going to be, people aren't going to know who we are anymore. Right? You're making change for the sake of change. So you have to look at everything. If it's working as it is right now, it's not as important as if something needs to be fixed right away. So whether let's take a website, for example, the website may be out of date. The content may be out of date. You have to do a complete content refresh. That's important. Changing the logo, probably not so important right now, but being able to maintain where you are, continue those relationships, keep your brand recognition where it is, and assessing that situation, looking at each thing, compartmentalize different things, whether it's social, whether it's content, whether it's website, or sales decks or sales sheets, whatever it's going to be. Look at everything across the board and then make your decision and work with the leadership of the organization to prioritize really where you need to go.
I like what you said there because, as we've talked about many times, marketing is a long game, right? And you can't go in and just change things up. As you just pointed out, you have a lot of legacy partners that you probably are working with, that organization's working with, and you don't want to upset the apple cart without really getting to know what they're using your marketing for, what they're relying on you for in terms of marketing, because you may be their sole go-to-market avenue. And so to upset that all without consulting them, I think is going to lead to some harmed feelings and harmed relationships.
Yeah, in my current situation of coming back to Optimum, what I'm going through right now is kind of a marketing refresh in a way. After having started there in 2016 and built up a marketing department, went to our sister company for a few years, and now I'm back. And it's a twofold thing. I'm looking at everything we did in the past and looking at where we're going in the future. And I'm going through all of the content and looking at all of our websites and making sure that what we're saying now is more consistent against what we used to say in the future. So it's looking at every little thing and having to prioritize that.
Yeah, and I think that's super enlightened of you, right? Like what you just said there again, like you're coming back to a situation that you helped establish because you were there from 2016. Someone new was there during the interim, and now you're coming back, and you're not saying, hey, we're just going to go back to what you were doing before. You're respecting kind of the time you were away to kind of go, hey, there's got to be some stuff that was working. You're now on the hunt for that, and then mixing it in with some of the new stuff you want to do.
Yeah, it's humbling in a way, right? Because man, I don't want to have to go back and redo everything I did, but at the same time, it's like our website is overdeveloped, right? There's an emphasis on design and a less emphasis on content. And if you look at the way this web design has changed the last couple of years, that's not how websites are built anymore, right? It's more minimalistic approach, focus on the content, not so much on the design, and that's what we're going through. So minimizing the clicks and being more direct and more concise on the content. It's the same content, just being rewritten in a way and then being improved. But I mean, it's a process. It's a process.
Now, Larry, I want to go back to something you said before about leadership. You mentioned that you have to have and be aligned with the senior leaders of the company as a marketer.
Yep.
How important is having that leadership buy-in to the marketing leader?
It's very important. Now, as a chief marketing officer, obviously I'm part of the C-suite, so we have very in-depth conversations about the organization, where we're going, where we've been, what we need to do, what we need to change as we grow. But if you're not in that C-suite area, having the buy-in from whoever's above you, whether it's the CEO or a VP or an EVP or whatever, is important, because if you're not all on the same page, you're just doing work for the sake of doing work, and you're going to have to go back and redo it again. So it's important, especially as a leader, getting my team aligned and so forth. So in my situation, I had to restaff the team, and then getting everybody on board, and then say, okay, everybody, let's look at everybody's skill sets, look at all the responsibilities, and everybody on the team understands what we're doing, and then have to communicate that out to others in the organization that may or may not understand what marketing is, may not trust marketing, or just, in some cases, they just don't care. There are leaders out there that don't care about marketing, or don't feel that marketing is an important piece of the corporate structure, that marketing should just be doing A and B and not worry about content, right? We're not worrying about website. We don't care about that. We just want you to create sales decks, or we just want you to create leads, and they don't care about the other stuff. And it takes some time in education, right? I always say, whenever I do a marketing plan, right, it involves kind of 4 steps, right? It's creating that brand recognition. It's the website, it's all that kind of good stuff. But the 4th thing is always internal education, because marketing just doesn't market to the industry, it markets to your employees,
Right?
Because in the end, we're all salespeople, and we all have to understand what it is that we sell, how we talk about what we sell, and then can speak knowledgeably about it.
No, I think you're spot on there, right? In fact, there's been a lot of stuff written recently about the decline in the value of the chief marketing officer. We've seen some high-profile companies who have gotten rid of their CMO, or their CMO has left, and they're not replacing them. Clearly, a sign that some senior executives don't believe in the marketing function as being critical to their business. Personally, as marketers, I think they're making a mistake. But,
Yeah, so do I.
But I like what you said there, because it's not about it's about educating people about the value.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I did a study. I participated in a survey that some publication, I forget what it was, about how long the tenure of a chief marketing officer is. And over the last 5 years, their data showed that the average length of a stay of a company for a chief marketing officer had fallen by like 35%, where the average CMO will spend like 2.3 years at an organization before they leave on their own, or before the organization decides to get rid of that person across the board. And that's kind of scary, because it takes longer than that to build up a marketing program, especially if you're starting from the ground up. So I was a little shocked to see that. So being that I've now been, I never really left Optimum as a whole. I was always consulting, but I've been with them for 7 years now, and here we are again, full circle, going through and looking at everything all over again.
So what would you say to somebody who is maybe facing a situation where their senior executives that they're working for are kind of hinting that they don't really understand the value of marketing? They're really just being asked to do sales enablement. What would you say to them to say to their executives?
I could tell you to say a million things to your executives, right? You have to start the little things. I always say I start the little things. I remember building the Optimum program from the ground up, and I said, hey, we're going to start our thought leadership program. We're going to do our blogs. We're going to do all this stuff. And my senior leader at the time he understood what I was doing, but he didn't necessarily see the value in it, or how important it was. And then I started showing him some metrics. Our LinkedIn followers doubled in the past 2 months by all the content that we're doing. or this other metrics around that, or engagement percentages. And all of a sudden that light bulb went on. You could swear you could see it pop on. He's like, I'm really now understanding the value of what you're doing with the content for our services. And then he started texting and calling everybody to work with Larry on this, work with Larry on that. So that's really, and from my perspective, that was the real point in the process where I was given that full autonomy to do whatever I needed to do across the board. And it didn't take that many metrics to do it. But each leader is going to be different, right? You may have a leader who has a history of being a salesperson. He wants to know, how much pipeline are you generating, right? Or how many leads are you bringing in? You may have somebody who comes from a marketing background, understands the other KPIs that you can use out there. So I think it depends on the situation, but I think you should be able to assess where you are, understand where that leader is coming from, and then generate what you need to show them in order to make that point across.
I'm excited for you, Larry, and for Optimum Healthcare IT for what you're going to be doing there. I'm looking forward to seeing that in the market. I'm sure your team is as well. Where can people go to learn more about Optimum Healthcare IT?
You can visit us on our website, optimumhit.com, which is currently being redone, mind you. So that'll be live here pretty soon. And of course, across our social channels, LinkedIn and X and Instagram and Facebook.
And where can people go to connect with you, Larry?
You can always find me on LinkedIn under Lawrence Kaiser, and on X is Larry Kaiser.
Amazing. Well, thank you for being on our program today. You shared a ton of great information.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate it.
This has been Colin Hung with Swaay.Health. If you enjoyed this interview as much as I did, head on over to Swaay.Health, that's Swaay with 2 A's, .health, where you can find more great content like this. Thanks for being here, and I'll catch you on the next episode.